shortage of these travel apps where you can see, people comparing how much it's going to cost to fly and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they're the first ones to do it, but they're the ones getting attention for it. Kayak is letting users filter out Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes. It's one where the door flew off. So when you go on and you're booking your flight, you can exclude, I guess they're counting on people starting to do more research. There's always going to be people who are like, I don't care what it is, I'll take my chances. What are the odds? And they're probably right. If you're playing the odds, something like this, more than likely not going to happen to you.
And I don't care.
What's that?
Like, I will pay for the cheapest plane ticket. Like, the plane is what it is. Like,
nobody died when that door flew off. It's fine.
But I have no control over how the plane is maintained. I could do the most expensive ticket or the cheapest ticket. You still have the same likely chance of dying. So it doesn't matter. I'm still going to book the cheapest flight. I don't care.
Well, you're not alone, obviously, but for people who do care, they are giving people the option of excluding those Boeing 737 MAX planes, which a number of airlines have said, we're going to think about not buying these airplanes at all.
It's amazing that airlines are they not making money? Is this the problem? Like, they're not well maintained, or they don't have the money to do it?
It's not that they don't have the money. It's that the less money they spend on repairs, the more money they can give to shareholders. Because they go, what are the odds with all of, and they're right, what are the odds with all of the planes that are in the sky at any given time? What are the odds something like this is going to happen? Now, because these stories are sensational and, everybody films everything now, so you get in-cabin video of something like this, these stories feel like it's happening all the time. In reality, it's probably not. It's a small percentage, but it still is not going to instill public confidence in people. So they're seeing this kayak, they're seeing a 15-fold increase in people filtering out those planes. They're like, I don't want to fly on that particular plane. Now, those are the ones getting bad press. I guarantee you every carrier is doing the same thing. Because one of them was Alaska Airlines, and then it was Delta. So you have multiple carriers buying the same planes. So it's not like the airline itself. I think it was Alaska Airlines, which is a smaller carrier, where the door flew off. So it's not that the companies don't have the money to do it. They're just doing a cost-benefit analysis. Hey, it would cost us a whole lot of money right now to tighten all these bolts. And all the finger-pointing is, well, Boeing sent these to us. It's not our crews. Boeing sent us planes with loose bolts. But they let you exclude that particular plane. And, everybody is always crowing, the electorate, always crowing about, why can't we come together? Why can't we find bipartisanship in our broken legislative body? Why can't we find bipartisanship? Well, they found some. There was bipartisan support to lobby for weakening airline safety regulations. Democrats and Republicans alike took money from the airlines over the years to make sure that safety regulations were further weakened. Senator Maria Cantwell, who's a Democrat from the state of Washington, got a couple $100,000 from Boeing because they wanted her to push legislation that would exempt them from upcoming safety deadlines, I guess. And then a Republican guy from Kansas did the exact same thing. Lobbied the FAA to weaken safety regulations. So maybe not the bipartisanship that people were looking for, but, they found it.
So sleazy. Like, it's just... whatever.
Well, that's why you got to be careful. Your campaign contributions are coming. Nobody gets anything for free. Nobody rides for free. And this is something, by the way, that because people go, well, what exactly does the FAA do then? The Federal Aviation Administration. What do they do? I mean, they only have so much influence over this. Lobbyists in any industry are a very, very powerful force. So this is something to consider, by the way, about a possible second Trump term. Because he said, for people who like Trump, something to consider, because he said he wants to dismantle the administrative state, right? He wants to gut all this kind of stuff. So set aside for a minute, set him aside, that he's a traitor and he's an utter moron. Those aren't even points of debate anymore. But he got so many people to buy into all that deep state nonsense that if he's running the show again, all these guardrails that we don't even realize are there will be gone. So, yeah, there's no doubt that there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of things that could be pared down. But it's not like he's going to go over that with a fine-tooth comb. That would require effort and intelligence, neither of which he has access to. So it would be more like a sledgehammer. So all these federal agencies that people don't even really realize are there. Health and Human Services. I mean, you know, most people, you could probably rattle off a couple of them. Department of Defense, Department of Agriculture. But there's a lot of them that people don't even realize are out there trying to make sure that we're not all killed by our food, not all killed by the air, or that airplanes will have the bolts tightened down.
Oh, you're so scared of flying. You're afraid of loose bolts while you're flying. You libtard.
The Federal Maritime Commission.
Yeah.
You know, the International I mean, obviously, if he were to become president again, there are a handful of agencies that would be gone day one, right? The SEC, the FTC. I mean, anything that might impact him personally, first thing's gone. Or severely gutted. You know, the Federal Mine Safety and Health Review Commission. A lot of agencies. And yes, I'm sure there could be some paring down. But when the FAA wags their finger, I don't know what they can actually do for things like this. So what you're left to do is to try to appeal to people at the retail level, which is Kayak going, yeah, you don't want to fly that particular plane because they've been getting a lot of bad press? Well, here's a way to do it. So I don't know what kind of impact that'll have. But, I got money. It's $1,000 as promised from the Buzzard bookie. Listen closely and good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
You can leave messages for us on the iHeartRadio app. Leave us voicemails on the After Hours line, but if you're listening on the app, it's just as easy to hit that talkback button.
Alan, talking about a week ago about how there's no situation where living on your own is cheaper. You know, I tell that to my wife and these kids who apparently need food and shelter. Living on my own would be much cheaper. Thank you very much.
Wait, what? What was he saying?
He's saying because I think he's the sole provider for his family. So if it was just him, it'd be cheaper.
Oh, yeah. If it was just him. Well, you need a time machine, homie. Not now. You got a
really, really airtight plan.
You've got a wife and kids, right? I'm not, it ain't going back.
And if having the kids there is always going to up the cost. But if it's you and your wife and you don't have kids, that's kind of the scenario you're talking about where you're living with somebody and you're sharing the cost.
I'm just talking about single people. Mm-hmm. Even single people. There's no scenario in which living by yourself is cheaper. And my point was, that's how great living by yourself is.
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
So worth it.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Okay.
I mean, listen, your money you do with it, but isn't it, Cody? Don't you love living by yourself?
I like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a love. Like, I don't like paying for stuff by myself. So if I got to cut costs, like if I cut my finances in half and all I had to do was, share half of my time with someone. Most of my roommates were gone most of the time anyways. We're on different schedules.
Okay, but at the very least, this go-round, it was worth it enough for you to dip your toe in it and go,
No,
yes,
I was shamed into... Well,
shamed by whom?
Well, it was...
Mary telling you you're a grown man and you should be living by yourself?
Yes, it was
But that's got nothing to do... But that's
it was my own insecurity.
But
You
that's
fell for
different than what you can pay for. I mean, you still got to go with what you can afford.
I did go with what I could
You can't be shamed into overextending yourself. That's silly.
But at the time, I was able to pay for it. But
Oh, that was when you still had your morning job.
yeah,
I got you.
I had all my finances allocated properly. Like I found a place far below my means with everything else on top of that I had to pay for. So falling on hard times happens to anyone. I'm not even like tripping over that. But even if I didn't, I like living alone, but ain't nothing gonna feel as good as when I paid rent and it was $450 a month. That's what my last apartment was. It was it was $900. We both paid $450 and then split utilities. I don't care. I could go with liking living with someone for $450 a month. I went on vacations as I wanted. I could buy and come and go as I please. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. Everyone says like, "Oh, having a roommate, you're a grown ass man." But if I'm not married and I don't have any kids, why
How
not?
many
have a
people were
roommate?
saying that to you?
What do you mean?
The roommate thing. I feel like it was just Mary that really cared.
You guys cared a lot too.
I didn't care.
You projected a lot on the show, but
No,
yes.
I didn't. Mary did. I make fun of you because even if you have a roommate or living on your own, you're still just a grown man child, but we all are.
Yes,
Who cares?
I get it. But it was my own insecurity. Deep down, I was like, I have it. How am I going to be in
Here
my...
you are, poorer than you ever been because you let somebody else dictate what you're going to do with your life.
You ain't
Just like
lying.
Lamar Jackson.
You ain't lying. But it literally was like, am I going to be in my 40s before I ever have a place to myself? Or worse, am I going to be married? And that's the only time I go from having a roommate to being in a relationship and moving in with him. I was like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want him to think that I can't be independent. So it was more so I need to be the fullest person of myself
For someone else?
before I think about getting into a relationship with someone else. I want to know,
Yeah.
I want him to know that, if things go south, I can get my own little apartment. I can get my little, turnkey and forget about you. I can live on my own. I don't want to, but I will. You make me do
You're
that.
making a lot of moves to try to prove stuff to other people.
It's how I live my life.
Well, it's working out great.
It's how I live my life. I don't choose to be the way I am. I just am the way I am.
Well, all kinds of people change the way they are. It's called growth.
But I did. That's why I went from being with roommates to being on my own. That is growth. That is change.
Right.
That is responsibility.
I agree.
My name is on the lease. If something happens, it's on me. I pay my bills. And for the first time in my life, yes, it is exhausting. I will say it is rewarding to live on your own, but I'm far too cheap to say no to $450 a month. If there was a guy or a roommate that was falling on hard times, they're like, I really need you. I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And I actually have furniture this time that I can contribute to. Everything else was my roommates. So I just had a musty room that I would move into. Like, all right, it's time to move in with another room.
Musty room.
I move in my musty mattress and my pile of clothes, and let's do this again. It was easy.
Yeah, I understand. It's just that if you have no responsibilities other than to yourself, that's your answer to anyone who might think that that's immature. If you're doing things for other people, you're like, I only have myself to consider.
Yes,
I'm not a deadbeat dad. I'm not that, you don't have children.
I
Doesn't
understand
matter.
that, but this was my own insecurities when I'm up thinking about things. I think there are some things in life you just have to experience, whether they be good or bad, just like losing your virginity or those things in life, those little rewards that we get, living independently. And I felt like I would not have been a full person if I didn't experience living on my own at least once. I don't know what's going to happen when if I re-sign my lease or if, and within this year, because my lease is up in August or September. I don't know what's going to happen by then. But to say that I did it, I had my own stuff, I furnished it, and I did the best I could, it.
Are your
means
clothes
something
all
to
still
me.
in garbage bags?
No, they're all over the floor. I poured them out of the garbage bags because I had to pick. Through
They're on the
stuff.
floor now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to pick through stuff that I wanted to wash. I'm not washing everything. That's all
I understand.
expensive. Like,
But why not hang them up?
because they're dirty.
Are you hanging up the things you launder? Or are they
Yes.
go? So,
I have a ton of clothes. I have clothes from college, from high school.
we'll get rid of some of them.
I'm not getting rid of those. I will wear some of them. I can still wear. I just have to pick out the ones that I can.
So you pick them out, launder them,
Mm-hmm.
and then hang them up. But you're like, if I'm not going to wear it, I'm not going to wash it. It's just going to be on the floor.
I don't mean for them to be on the floor. It's just it's so much, and to go through and sift through each individual bag. Each individual bag is like a different.
How many bags?
It's like 6.
And these are like giant bags, like lawn and leaf bags, or like kitchen bags?
Like kitchen garbage bags.
Yeah, okay.
And-
Okay, that's not that bad.
And it's like, each one was like a period in my life. College, some from high school.
Are they labeled
and then
as such?
I can look at them and tell. I'm like, oh, that hoodie. I've had that hoodie since high school. And then some I'm like, oh, that's college. I can still smell the 151 on it. Like I can just tell.
And that's good. You want to maintain that.
No, it's just like my wardrobe has changed. Believe it or not.
No, I do believe it. That's why I'm saying I'm surprised you still have keeping things from college and high school.
Because they're good hoodies. I got some really good hoodies, and I don't ever bitches be trying to steal my hoodies. I don't ever want to give up a hoodie. They're just difficult to wash.
I can identify with that. All right, well.
It's weird that you're so pro circumcision.
What?
You like circumcision so much, yet you're so adamant about hanging onto a hoodie.
He just back there breathing, just sighing.
I wonder where he was going with that. Yeah, that is a stretch.
He did it.
But
There's something that I saw today that someone sent me. They're buying a dildo for their office for some sort of prank, and they had one circled, and they're like, this one is the one we're going to get. But under it, on Amazon, there's a dildo that has movable foreskin, and I'm still not okay.
Some people like the real feel.
I gotta stop foreskin shaming. I'm telling you, my husband's gonna have foreskin, and it's gonna be my incoming karma.
Listen, I'm not
I'm a
foreskin
lover.
shaming. I'm saying that's an interesting move for a dildo.
Some people, that's their preference.
The European market, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is their preference. Some people prefer the foreskin. I'm minus foreskin. That's all. It's just a preference.
Minus.
He's minus foreskin.
Not against it. He's minus it.
Like it minds. I told you guys I don't like soggy bread, and that's what the foreskin reminds me.
If you ain't for it, you're again it.
And the way they
I don't need to see it.
showcase it is they have it like pulled,
Oh, no.
like stretched,
Yeah.
like a flying squirrel.
Spreading the wings out.
Yeah.
It's like the Jeepers Creepers when he like tries to scare people.
Yeah, that too.
The creeper.
Yeah, a
You know what I'm
little
talking
bit,
about, Bill? Is that what it's like?
Full wingspan.
No, you gotta
Oh.
look up like when
Oh, he's got like the Gila monster or whatever with the.
when he roars, his little claws come out of his head.
Yeah.
And it makes like it's like
I'm sending this to
Like a
the group
Komodo
chat.
dragon. All right, I got a break here. Speaking of monsters, your Cleveland Monsters are going to be taking the ice. I will have a couple of tickets for you on the way back. Monsters are going to be playing the Charlotte Checkers. It's a 4-pack of tickets to see them on the 10th of February at the Romo Fijo.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7